Got it right here. Come to the oh, yes, man. Painkiller. That's good. I got sidetracked there. Touch the backside of the seat. Check your gun to your lucky. We don't want to have it repeat the last time we were down there. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on you. And what I want you to do is modify any of your inadvertent noise-making devices. Please. President, Doctor, y'all want to get in here, please?
Francis Berry and Copper.
Gerald, proud to have you here.
Oscar.
Dr. proud to have you here.
Very nice Warrensburg.
Really nice work. Proud to have you here. Well, y'all want to get in here, please? Mr. Phillips, what is it?
Charlesburg.
Charlesburg. Sorry about all that.
Well, Thomas Crittenden, Miss Cockrell, I see the two of you finally got on the dog, eh?
John. How are you, sir?
Very well, sir, very well. Of course, you know Mr. Charles Dutton.
Mr. Burton, a pleasure to meet you.
And of course, you must be Leonidas Hornsby.
Yes.
And what of the grand old man? Bet he's still out back, stuck in the judge's pockets of $10 bills.
I couldn't imagine he'd do anything like that.
It's a little late to be studying up on things now.
You know the Senator. He never takes notes.
Is that so?
Beth in here. Beth, you get on in here. We'll run this talk at you. I don't care.
Keep her away from the horses, she hates the horses. Hey, Frank, how's it going? You're as red as a bee. You know, watch your blood pressure. Hey, you better see a doctor about your blood pressure.
I don't trust doctors.
Well, you don't trust lawyers either, but here we are. Tommy, Francis, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Good.
And the missus?
Yes.
You're looking a million, Senator.
Hey, you better watch it. I can teach you boys a thing or two. Hey, who do we have here? Are you Leonidas Hornsby?
Yes.
Leonidas, I just want to come on over here and speak to you Christian to Christian and share my opinion that the law is the law. We're here to serve the deliberation of justice. Hey, can I call you Lon?
That would be an honor, Senator.
Lon, why don't you come clean about killing that dog and give Charlie some of that
Senator, we can't have this now.
He's guilty of sin, boys.
That way the principals for the trial?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Court of Common Pleas of Johnson County, Missouri is now in session. This September 1870. The jury is impaneled and the plaintiff, Charles Burton versus Leonidas Hornsby. All rise. The Honorable Albert R. Comfort is presiding. You're welcome, sir. Please be seated. This is about a wrongful death of a dog. Here's the complaint. Witness for the plaintiff, Charles Burton, please come forward and be sworn. This is the 1850 Bible. Charles Burton, you promise to tell the truth?
I do.
Please be seated, sir.
I, Charles Burton, 45 years old, reside in western Johnson County on a farm south of Kingsville, just a little bit west of Lost Creek and north of Oak Creek. And I am the owner of this dog in this controversy. On or about October 28, 1869 was the last time that I saw Drum.
Oh, did you take Drum?
Yes, he's He's the dog of this controversy, but he's more than that. Because no one would doubt that Old Drum was the best hunting dog in Johnson County. Now, my first wife, Esther, and I had a little girl. And before Nancy Hornsby and I got things sorted out, that little girl, she took the Old Drum, I mean, like a calf to a cow. They followed her everywhere. Now, a couple times, my little girl wandered off, and I got pretty stirred up about it. But soon we learned all you had to do was go out in that apple orchard, and there the Old Drum would be laying down the tree. That little girl would have her head on his chest, and they'd both be asleep. I don't think that dog would let anything happen to that little girl. Anyway, about dark.
Yanni, the almanac has the sun setting at 5:20 p.m. on Thursday.
So about 5:30 or so, Old Drum came to the door, and I read in the almanac that it was going to be a really good day for a fox hunt. So I let him go. Now, Old Drum, you have to understand him. He's a dog, he never lied. When he struck trail and fade, he knew it. Other dogs, you didn't know what you should be chasing. But Old Drum, he was true. They were going south for quite a while, and then they hit trail, and I tried to keep up with them, but I couldn't. So I turned back and came back, and as I passed near Lon's farm about 8 o'clock, I heard a shot ring out. Well, the next day I went over to Lon's place, and when I was walking up, he was busy pressing cider, and when I got there, he kind of wandered off, and I called out. I said, Lon, have you seen my dog? I said, what dog was it you shot last night? And he replied back, he said, I didn't shoot any dog. He said that Dick shot the tenant farmer's dog.
Well, please the court to know that my client is referring to a Mr. Samuel Ferguson, who awaits as a witness.
Well, that next day, me and the neighbor went down south to Big Creek and got down there at Haymaker Ford there. We crossed, and there was Old Drum laying dead in the water. You could see he'd been shot with a musket. He had various sized shot holes in him. And the other thing I could tell was that he'd been drugged there. One side was all muddy, the other was ruffled up.
So, Drum's appearance was peculiar. Something to that one says.
Yeah, I found some horse hair on him. You know, Lon's got some horses just 2 miles from there.
Mr. Burton, could you evaluate Drum's working quality, black, tan?
Well, I thought he had some blood down in him. He could track a man. He was pretty good with varmints and could chase wolves. He's the best deer dog that I ever had. I owned him for 2 years. You know, I hunt a great deal, and it's a pretty good sport. I couldn't even took $150 for that dog.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense may cross.
Mr. Burton, describe where you live in relevance to Mr. Hornsby and Old Drum's habits prior to October 28th, 1869.
I live on a farm. My farm's just a little bit south of Long, maybe a little bit west. Pretty much Drum just stuck to home.
Best hunter in all Johnson County. I bet Drum could cover a lot of ground. Did you ever bring him back from Hornsby's? Look for him? Brought him back?
Like I said, he mostly stayed at home. He may have followed me home once or twice. Pretty much he just stayed at home.
Thank you, Mr. Burton.
All the dogs came back that night,
Thank you.
except Drum.
Your Honor?
May step down, Mr. Burton. Your Honor, the plaintiff has asked to summarize the deposition of the rest of their witnesses.
Your Honor, I have no objection to this maneuver as long as you grant the defense the same consideration. Furthermore, I will also provide the witnesses' written accounts.
Well, we'll provide them with odds, Your Honor, and the other additional requests they may wish to make.
You may as well interject with our recital and request clarification.
They may as well request clarification and the other additional refinements then.
Sir.
Well, sir.
I pronounce her in complete accord. What have we got for the defense? Witness for the defense. Leonidas Hornsby, please come up and be sworn. you promised to tell the truth?
I did.
Please be seated, sir.
Mr. Hornsby, you've heard all this what come before you. Give us your side of the story.
I am the defendant. My father, my mother, my wife, Samuel Ferguson, young man named Herb, was at the house October 28, 1869. About 8 o'clock, this dog came around. Some of the boys wanted to shoot him. I told them not to hurt him. Sam Ferguson brought me a gun. He put some powder in it. I put some corn in it. I didn't think any more about it till next morning. Burton here comes to the house and asked me if I shot his dog. I said Sam Ferguson shot a dog with a gun filled with corn. That gun was a single barrel gun. It was a dark night. That dog had to be at least 30 yards off.
When did you see Burton's dog drunk?
I was not at Haymaker's Mill from that time till 10 o'clock the next morning. We examined him. He was laying in the same place. Burroughs had drug him across the creek. We examined him. There was a squirrel shot in him some 3-4 times. His shoulder was broke some too.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further.
Clients may rise.
Now this gun. Was this the one that was used for hunting earlier?
Yes, but the musket. Dick had seen this dog up under the pig nut tree. It was a black-looking dog. When it was shot, it hollered. It ran to the block, jumped up over the fence, and didn't holler. I saw nothing of Burton's dog till I saw him at the creek. Old Drum was not killed by Dick with a musket filled with corn.
Can you tell us about any livestock on your property?
Livestock?
Horses.
We got 9 or 10 horses.
Well, any that just might match this swatch that I have here in my hand.
It might be close likened to the old bay mare.
Your Honor, these horse hairs were collected by Mr. Charles Burton from the very body of poor old Drum.
I did not notice the morning of October 29, 1869, she had been released.
And this is a recollection of a morning, what, 11 months past?
I bore Drum no ill will. Drum was a good dog. We let many man dog run about the place. At the Kingsville inquest, I examined Drum. There was no mud nor horse hairs on him. Drum was killed with turkey shot, and here my gun was filled with corn.
Go for the question, Your Honor.
Very well. Our next witness, Samuel Ferguson, comes forward to be sworn. Samuel, Dick Ferguson, you promise to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please be seated, Dick.
Let's hear your side of all this, Mr. Ferguson.
All right, well, it was October 28th, 1869. I was at home in Mr. Hornsby's when a dog came in the yard. I don't know who saw it first, but I wanted to shoot it. Mom said don't hurt it, so what I did was I ran in the house and I grabbed a musket and we put some powder into some corn.
Now, I've heard it said the gun was already loaded. Are you telling me you filled a loaded gun?
That gun was not loaded at the time. It wasn't loaded, so me and Mom put the powder in the corn and the dog was about 25-30 steps off. We shot at it, it hollered and ran to the fence. When it hopped over, heard nothing of it. Next day, Mr. Burton came over and I showed him where the dog was and where I was, where I shot him, and didn't think nothing of it.
Was it drunk?
I'd seen him drum before, but I don't know if the dog I shot was saying.
Thank you.
Your witness, Mr. Combs.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, you're from Tennessee.
Yeah,
Lived here what, 7 years?
around that.
Worked on Hornsby's farm.
Yeah.
Filled a loaded shotgun. That's good, man.
Hey, now that was empty. I filled the gun up myself, wasn't it long, put some powder and corn in it. Dog was no closer than 25 to 30 steps off.
This dog, he headed north, he headed south.
I don't know what direction he was facing me. The dog was underneath the old pig nut tree in the dark shadows.
Did you tell Mr. Charles Berger that the dog had been shot by the left-hand side of the shotgun?
I did not.
You didn't say in Kingsville, in front of the Justice of the Peace, that you had shot that dog with a shotgun.
I never stated that.
You didn't tell Mr. Hornsby that he told you to shoot that dog.
Did not.
You moved that dog?
No.
That dog had been drugged, that wasn't you?
No.
You didn't move old Drum.
I never saw Drum until after I shot him dead in the creek.
No further questions, John.
The defense exercises the right, as per prior agreement, to summarize the remaining witnesses' accounts.
Yeah, I should have thought that a little earlier.
You can step down now, Dick.
Boys, let's see what we can do to get this to the jury.
Thomas Craven for the defense, Your Honor.
Very well.
Gentlemen, aren't you just about sick of these deadbeat bummers riding along on the coattails of people of progress? Hard toiling Christians struggling after this terrible war with enough trouble without the deadbeats, the laggards, pulling them down. What would you do, sir, if you were in Leonidas Hornsby's shoes? Here is Leonidas Hornsby, Lon Hornsby, striving with his sheep husbandry, striving against what nature throws at him. Is this not enough? Is this enough that has beaten his brow, grayed his beard? No, 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 cry his adversaries. Pay for my dog that I found it. Pay for this, pay for that. You have all the money. As you deliberate this case, hold in your mind this keen fact. It would be a lawless world we live in, without respect for property. Who's to say the dog under that pig nut tree was primed and ready to rip the tender neck leg that is at lamb? I will conclude and hand this dilemma to you, dear friends. When asked to be responsible and held accountable to defend your property, it is affirmed by rule of law. Law. I have certainty you will not find Leonidas Hornsby negligent in this regard. Thank you.
George Ray Best for the prosecution, Your Honor. So,
Gentlemen of the jury, the best friend a man has in this world may turn against him and become his enemy. His son or daughter he is reared with loving care may prove ungrateful. Those who are nearest and dearest to us, those whom we trust with our happiness and our good name, may become traitors to their faith. The money a man has, he may lose. It flies away from him. Perhaps when he needs it the most, a man's reputation may be sacrificed in a moment of ill-considered action. Those people who are prone to fall on their knees to do us honor when success is with us may be the first to throw the stone of malice when failure settles its clouds upon our heads. The one absolutely unselfish friend that a man can have in this selfish world, the one who never deserts, and the one who never proves treacherous or ungrateful, is his dog. Gentlemen of the jury, a man's dog stands by him in prosperity and in poverty, in health and in sickness. He will sleep on the cold ground where the winter winds blow and the snow dries fiercely, if only he may be near his master's side. He will kiss the hand that has no food to offer. He will lick the wounds and the sores that come in contact with the roughness of this world. He guards the sleep of his pauper master as if he were a prince. When all other friends desert, he remains. When fortunes take wings and reputation falls to pieces, he is as constant in his love as the sun in its journey through the heavens. When fortune drives the master forth, an outcast in this world, friendless and homeless, the faithful dog asks no higher privilege than accompanying him to guard against danger, to fight against his enemies. And when the last scene of all comes and death takes the master in its embrace and his body is laid in the cold ground, no matter if all others pursue their way, there by the graveside will the noble dog be found, his head between his paws, his eyes sad but open, in alert watchfulness, faithful and true, even to death.
The jury will now retire to deliberate this case.
Your Honor, we find for the plaintiff, $50 for all drugs.
Before we head back out to the festival, I will give you extra tidbits. Don't feel too sorry for Mr. Leonidas Hornsby. He and his father were very wealthy landowners here in Johnson County, but they were also very good at suing. They even sued General Sterling Price and the Confederate Army after the war between the states. And therefore, a lot of their land went to pay lawyers, including two of these represented up here. Leonidas died at the age of 62, and it was because of an accident at a well over by Lee. Mr. Vernon ended up living the rest of his life in Johnson County, but there aren't many records of what happened to him. He didn't leave diaries, and he didn't like to talk about his job as a wagon train scout headed out to Utah and beyond. So a lot of his stories are lost to us. But we do know that he had 3 wives, and each of them were Hornsby's. So wouldn't you have liked to visit those family gatherings? Yay.
And they weren't kidding about this big force stuff over here. These 4 men served their country, and more specifically, Missouri, more